Hello, my name is Anton, and this is the Teachback for the Fantastic Four, mainly the Human Torch. And what I want to go over is button one works. Basically, the panels and their sides and how they're shaped, details within the frame, action, movement, negative space, text bubbles, and how the colors and textures are displayed. And focusing on that last one, I want to go into this first panel. It's part of a different page, but I still like it. It's basically Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, blasting out of a car, because why not? I couldn't just open the door. So the fire itself is very hair-like, and it's very, like, the center is very orange, which means there's a very hot flame in the center, and then the red is a very colder flame, because that's how fire works. It's very disturbing, I guess I want to say, because the flames are going upward, but he's moving upward as well, so the flames should actually be facing the other way, to show that, yes, the flame is moving up, but he's moving faster than the fire that's coming out of his body. And then with the car melting, it looks very much like a cotton candy ice cream mess coming out of the exposed holes, and it's all just melting and looks somewhat satisfying. I will admit to that. But I feel like the car itself should be more or less on fire, not melting. But yeah, that was just that fun panel. Then the next one we got is mainly focusing on the panels. So for this one, it's the top panel. And just a real quick rundown of what they're basically saying. Hey, we have an emergency, call the National Guard. They're like, all right, cool. Call the National Guard, telling them that there's a flaming object over the city. They're like, oh, well, we don't believe you. And then they actually see it. So with the flow of it, it's very, it goes from respond, like a transponder telling the radio station, hey, tell the pilots this, and then the pilots are like, all right, cool. So with the text bubbles itself, it's when it's a person speaking, it's like a rounded bubble, but if it's jagged, that means it's a radio frequency or different type of communication. And even with the sides of the panels, they're still very jagged, still showing that transition between person, radio, person, which I do find pretty interesting. Next we have the middle panel, where the jets are scrambling around a flying person who's on, or flying fire object, and then all of a sudden their planes melt, because who thought that was a good idea to do so? Like, just grab a hose. But yeah, with the detail on the frames, like in the first one, it is very detailed. Like, all the people are there, it's like just full of information, and the people are very, very textured. They can show, like, see all their designs, folds, and their fabric and all that. But if you go down to the next one, it's kind of easing up. Like, they spent all the budget on the first three panels, and then with the flaming torch, now the fire is pointing in the correct direction in the second panel. The first panel is still going the wrong way, I believe. But then the second one is the flames are moving away from Johnny going forward, or from the Human Torch going forward. And it still shows the very, like, quick movements, because you can see the streams coming out of the planes, showing that they're going one direction. They're not just stationary in space. Same with the Human Torch with his giant tail. And even in the second panel with the plane going down with the smoke coming out of it. Also, this is all happening above a city, which is a terrible idea to do, but I don't know, who am I to judge? I mean, that's who. And then with this one, we got a lot of negative space. Like, it just shows the Human Torch with, like, a little blip, and then the little blip becomes bigger, and then becomes a giant missile, which is apparently a nuclear warhead, again, over a city. So, again, with the Human Torch and the texturing, it's not becoming, I guess, more lazy. It's becoming more like they're trying to be more detailed with it, but it still gives off fire, which is, I guess, the main point. And then second panel is very white to help separate the three panels altogether, but it's still like bordered off, which is pretty interesting. And again, with the text bubbles, it's just very rounded because it's only person talking. There's no like another transmission or something like that. But with back to the texture, the Human Torch is very textured in this first panel, and then the second panel it's kind of letting up, and then the third panel it's just the main focus is the missile showing its movement lines that it's traveled a long way, going very quickly towards the Human Torch. And then as an overview of the entire panel, it goes 3-3, which there is a lot of, it's to keep it simple because more panels can get more confusing or just feel like it's just running along. So with the shortness of panel amounts, it does help the reader overall. And you can stick more information per panel, but they did that with the much smaller panels, which I kind of find interesting. Yeah, that is all that I have to say about this one page on the Fantastic Four. Here we got the link for the Fantastic Four issue, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.